Hello everybody and welcome back to NCAA 2005, and we are back with some more Idaho Vandals Dynasty mode here, kind of getting towards the halfway point of the season, I guess you could say. We're about 6 games in, which is about half of 12 last time I checked. I'm not very good at math though, but we are facing off against the Stanford Cardinal, so don't let the record fool you, because going through their roster, they have a very, very high-powered team, but according to the rankings, they have a very, very poor offense, a very piss-poor offense. It ranks 112th, and remember, there's only 119 FBS programs. So Stanford coming into this game with one of the lowest ranked offenses in most of our ranks, at least, are somewhere in the top 50 nationally. So we're kind of an all-around, I wouldn't say mid-team, but just kind of higher-end team. Maybe the 14th rank is a little bit generous, but this game, from what I gather, is a little bit more forgiving in terms of rankings. I figured losing to Oregon State would knock us out completely, and we'd have to kind of fight our way back close to the top 25. But we're still in it after picking up another win following the Oregon State loss. So I mean, we're a top 15 team according to the rankings here of this game. But Stanford is a formidable opponent. They were one of the better teams in the Pac-10 last year. They finished 7-5, much like the Beavers did. They even won an extra conference game than Oregon State did, finishing better overall in these standings, but they would lose their bowl game to Syracuse in the Insight Bowl, so that is an important thing to also note here, that they did not win the bowl game. So maybe they're looking to do that, but they're also trying to fight to bowl eligibility. They're 3-3 right now, so they got to pick up some wins. But the overalls of the players that I saw when I wrote this roster down, it is scary. It is scary, but we're already facing a 3rd and long here. Norwood, plenty of time to throw, keeps rolling out, trying to throw somebody open, and he does eventually find someone downfield, and it's who else but Nicholas Bullard in double coverage, somehow coming down with that football. I have no idea how he managed to do that, but I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm just going to live with it. I'm going to accept the results of this play, as Norwood just took till the very last second. Remember, he had someone in his face here, and in double coverage finds an open man. So 1st and goal here, and Stanford is absolutely rocking, man. They have quite a bit of fans here rocking the place, and we're going to go with a fullback dive to Dylan Barker, who's going to fall forward into the end zone for the first touchdown of the day. Unfortunately, we're the ones to score it. It's so interesting to look at the stadiums in this game compared to now. You know, I see that end zone on the other end, and I know that's not how the stadium still looks, but anyway, it's just a little side note. But Stanford now is going to try and answer back here, and their quarterback, Sean Harrington, waits to the very final last second to find an open receiver before he eventually finds one and throws it downfield with somebody in his face. And he manages to find Terrence Cox, one of the top receivers here at Stanford. But quickly it becomes a 3rd and 12 for the Stanford Cardinal, and Harrington is able to flip it back towards the middle once again to Terrence Cox, who wins out the foot race here, a short little trot to the end zone, and he's going to win out over the rest of our defenders and get into the end zone and give Stanford their first bit of points for the day in a packed Stanford stadium. So, and Terrence Cox is not listed as the top receiver on Stanford's roster, but in this early drive, he's getting a majority of the work. So we're tied up at 7 apiece here late in the first quarter. Now, Matt Norwood, once again, leading the Vandals offense. I believe that is Connor McNeil across the middle, who hauls that one in for another Vandal first down, getting us close here to midfield. We're going to get another look at it, and yeah, I think that's an 83, and it sure is. And we're across midfield inside the Stanford 45. So 1st and 10 for the Vandals. We're going to go with a pitch play here to the running back, Marcus Donnelly. And yes, I did say Marcus Donnelly. So something interesting here, I guess we ran out of points earlier in the season trying to save Keith Bridges' butt with his disciplinary problems. And so now we're out of points. So the NCAA is just kind of leveraging whatever punishments it wants to on our players. And Keith Bridges committed another infraction, so he's out for just the game. So we don't have Marcus Bridges, our running back. But what we do have is another touchdown, as Matt Norwood is able to throw himself another passing touchdown, this time to Roderick Williams, the freshman, who is already having such a great season this year. We love to see our freshman really showing out, because he's going to be the future of the next few seasons. A lot of these other guys are not going to be, so it's good to see. But Stanford can't be silenced for long, as Sean Harrington finally finds Johnny Edmonds, the top receiver at Stanford, for a humongous pickup to get them inside the red zone of Idaho. And then hopefully we'll get another look at it. I'm not sure. Yeah, we are. It replays like every single play, and I don't know which ones I edit out, which ones I don't. But yeah, Sean Harrington is doing a good job through the air. Remember, we saw that Stanford's offense ranked pretty poorly. I think it's mainly because of rushing. I don't think it's because of passing. One of them was the outlier stat. Like I couldn't say if it was passing or rushing, but that's that seems to be affecting Stanford, but not in this game, as Sean Harrington is able to throw another beautiful dime of a pass, this time very much contested in the end zone, but it's going to be another touchdown for the Stanford Cardinal here, as Sean Harrington fakes the handoff and lobs this one up here, and I believe that was Edmonds once again in double coverage. Yeah, look at this. Edmonds just goes up for it, and ooh, nearly gets his legs completely taken out by Keon Wesley, the free safety. I mean, he does get his legs taken out, but that's going to have the first quarter end, so we end tied at 14 apiece. Stanford back on offense, though, however, and finally we're going to get a little bit of running action from Stanford as a running back, Jeff Oliver, gets a nice little pickup on the ground for Stanford, and that's going to continue their drive moving into Idaho territory. So 1st and 10 for the Stanford Cardinal here, and they're going to hand this one off once again to Oliver, and Oliver's got plenty of open space in the middle of the line of scrimmage here. So Stanford's getting quite a bit of push on the offensive line, and that's, as a lot of people will say, is really where these games are typically won. So Stanford is currently winning that battle up front, and we're going to have to show a little bit of physicality here and try and shut down Stanford any way we can. So, but on a 2nd and 6, Sean Harrington takes a shot towards the end zone, and that time it looked like perhaps the tight end. I'm going to guess that was the tight end who they managed to hit, Lucky Orr. I think that's who it was. So Lucky Orr manages to come down with it in the end zone, and Stanford now finally breaks the tie here and takes a 7-point lead. And on a 3rd and 6, they're going to go with another handoff to Jeff Oliver, but he's going to be brought down by one of our big, huge edge rushers here, Alton O'Neill, who manages to get in there. And so on a 4th down, Stanford's going to bring out the kicking team to extend to a 10-point lead, and they are able to do so on a long field goal. So 24-14 here, late in the first half. Still a minute left to go here. Can Matt Norwood get the Vandals offense moving here in the second quarter, which he has failed to do? And on a huge bomb of a pass to Roderick Williams, it goes nowhere, but Roderick Williams is also injured on the play. So not only do we not convert the first down, but we're losing one of our top offensive players on the offensive side of the ball, and there we see he's going to be out for the rest of the game with a sprained elbow. So Stanford here with 44 seconds left on a 3rd down, going to try and at least get some kind of pointage before the half is over. And they're going to have an injury themselves and have to call an injury timeout, as Sean Harrington is able to hit C.J. Barnett, the 3rd receiver on the depth chart, and he's going to be injured, and he would also not return for this game. So an eye for an eye. Both teams lose receivers here, but C.J. Barnett's a little bit further down on the depth chart than Roderick Williams is for us. So I don't know if it's exactly quite an even exchange. Either way, Stanford's not wasting any time as Harrington is able to find a deep pass downfield, I believe, probably to Johnny Edmonds again. We're probably going to get another look at it, but we'll see exactly who it was. But Harrington is absolutely cooking for the Stanford Cardinal right now. I mean, it is absolutely lighting things up through the air. And so Stanford now not only breaks the 14-point tie, but it manages to take a 17-point lead over us in the span of the second quarter alone. So here in the second half, we're desperate for something to change. Matt Norwood's going to try and keep it himself, and he's going to get injured. He's going to injure his shoulder. Now, we've talked so much earlier in the season about Matt Norwood needing to protect his health with running the football because he was injured last year towards the end of last season, and that injury is going to take him out for the remainder of this game. So call up Ross Chester, the sophomore now, who used quite a bit last season, and he's at least getting things off to an early start with a huge deep bomb of a pass, I believe, to Nicholas Bullard. And that's going to give us a boost on offense that we hadn't really seen from Matt Norwood really in like a quarter and a half. So Ross Chester already getting his name heard pretty loudly here in Stanford. So on a 3rd and 5, going to try and convert here, and that passes to pretty much nobody, as there were a couple of receivers in the vicinity, but that ball wasn't really to either of them. So that was going to sail into the grass, and we're going to have to keep the offense out there on 4th and 5 because we do not have the range kicking-wise. And on 4th and 5, it's a quick pass to the right side of the field, and that one is broken up by Stanford. So we're going to turn this one over on downs, and we are still struggling to get the offense moving here just at any point. And in the third quarter, nothing else would happen, so neither offense really strikes much at all here early in the second half. So with the fourth quarter, we still have time to catch up here, but not a ton of optimism being shut out the last two quarters. So Sean Harrington with an absolute bomb of a ball, and that's somehow going to be caught by Delvin London, who was the replacement for C.J. Barnett for Stanford, who, remember, went down earlier in the game with an injury, and now the fourth receiver on Stanford's depth chart is also getting his name checked in here in Stanford as he gets a huge touchdown catch. And I don't even know if that was really a catch, but they're going to mark it that it was. So 38-14 now the score, and on 3rd and long here, it's just getting bad to worse, guys. We're not getting any better on offense. Ross Chester gets pass rushed almost immediately and gets absolutely clobbered. And so on 4th and 20 now, we're going to have to punt this one away deep in our own end. And no, folks, do not tell me. Don't tell me. Or actually, I guess I'll just tell you. And that is Johnny Edmonds, the top receiver for Stanford, finding some open space along the sideline and surging upwards towards the end zone for a punt return. And we haven't seen a lot of special teams touchdowns both for us and against us. But we're going to get one here in season number 6 as Stanford gets a punt return to get them to extend the lead 45-14. And we were desperate here on offense. Finally have a chance, and Ross Chester's going to find a Stanford linebacker for an interception, not just an interception, but a pick 6. So the lead is further going to extend for Stanford as things are just starting to completely unravel for the Vandals, and I have no idea how or why this is happening. Remember, the national ranks for Stanford weren't even that good. The roster indicates that this team should be that good, but for some reason they're not playing that well in year number 6. They're playing about as well as a 7-5 team, coming into this 3-3. I didn't look at their schedule to see who they had lost or won to, but regardless, man, they're absolutely pummeling us right now. We finally have a chance on offense here to maybe score some more points, and Ross Chester finds another Stanford defender for another interception. In Stanford, I mean, they already pretty much had iced the game with the last pick 6, but here's just another one, man, just to really put some salt in the wound as Ross Chester really doesn't really get off to the best start here. And he really helped us last season. I mean, he helped at least keep the offense together, but in this game, not even his efforts could really do much of anything. So a win like this, you would imagine, would pretty much completely bounce us out of the top 25 rankings. We will, of course, find out once we get back to the hub world, but, I mean, this is an absolute statement victory for Stanford and really just a statement loss for us in the Pac-10, man. I mean, you start to question, can we really compete and hang in the Pac-10? I mean, we played very closely to Oregon State, who I would assume is a worse team than Stanford is. We'll see what the record is, but looking at the overalls and roster, I mean, Stanford really looked like the better team on paper, so I'm not super shocked at this result, but I mean, just, I don't know, the fact that this is how it's going, considering how both teams have played this year, I mean, it's a little bit shocking, I guess, but, you got to consider we didn't have our top running back, we lost our second best receiver, and we lost our quarterback, so it's not, considering all those things, I guess it's not super concerning, or I mean, it's concerning when you lose by like 40 points, regardless of the circumstances. It's concerning. But both Matt Norwood and Ross Chester didn't play well at all, like really didn't play well at all. Matt Norwood with a 29% completion percentage, in the quarter or so that he played before he got injured. I mean, just really an awful day for the Vandals. Lynch really didn't have the boys ready for this game. That's another thing to kind of point at here. One of our top receivers was Trey Mosley, who's a freshman that we didn't even, you know what I mean? Like, not even highlight, like, just what happened in this game, man? It was just a complete disaster from every single angle that we could have possibly imagined. But we'll see how it affects our season moving forward and affects our chances in the Pac-10. After beating Washington in the following week, we moved back up to the 15th spot. So remember, we were 14th when we lost to Stanford, and just one win gets us back to 15th. I told you guys, it's a lot more charitable in this game than it is in the other game. So, and Cal has won their way back into the top 25. They weren't a couple weeks ago, so this matchup back in Moscow is a ranked matchup. So I hope to see you guys back in Moscow when we play the Cal Golden Bears.